Am I the idiot for not speaking to my mother after how she reacted to me attending therapy? I 28 female and my mother, 54 female, had a huge fight because I decided to attend grief therapy. I have been in the very privileged position to have had all 4 of my grandparents until recently, as well as having a great relationship with all of them. My grandfather passed away in September 2021, it wasn't sudden as he had been sick for a number of years. As anyone who has lost a loved one knows, it was really hard on me emotionally. I've always had a special relationship with him and he was like a second father to me. I recently started seeing a grief counselor, as I felt I wasn't processing my grief the way I wanted to. I'm generally a very emotional person, but my family are not. They would be all quite repressed emotionally and wouldn't be openly emotional in front of other people. So when I would cry in front of them it would make them uncomfortable, so I just started removing myself from the situation. I found a grief counselor through my job and started to attend weekly sessions, and they have been helping. My mom started asking questions about where I was going, and I didn't feel comfortable until I was 4 sessions in. When I told her, she was offended that I wouldn't have gone to her first before involving someone else. She said things like, "Sure, we're all sad, why would you need to go to see a counselor?" I immediately blew up and started arguing with her and explained that she has just completely validated why I didn't go to her. I know I shouldn't have blown up the way I did, but I couldn't help it. We now aren't speaking and she wants me to apologize for offending her and making her feel like a bad mother. I think she should be apologizing to me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She feels like a bad mother because, at least in this respect, she was. You absolutely should have been able to be sad and express other emotions in front of your family. They were supposed to support and nurture you, and they didn't. As a fellow raised by robots, I'm proud of you for realizing that doesn't work for you and getting what you need. Not the idiot. Everyone grieves differently. No one has the right to force you to do it the way they prefer. It doesn't matter what mother is saying, she is wrong. Furthermore, it is her who should apologize. She makes herself a bad mother for not respecting how her child is handling it. Not the idiot. Your mother is being selfish and controlling. She isn't thinking about you, or what kind of help you need, she's thinking about herself and how you need to comply with her opinions and make her feel important. If she thinks that her ego is more important than your mental health, then she is being a bad mother. Don't apologize to her. She's wrong, and unhelpful. Am I the idiot for telling my father that I don't want anything to do with his family? When I, 23 female, was 15, I met up with my father, Joe, 43. He had gotten married in the 13 years that he had disappeared and had got in contact with me to be a family. His wife, Liz, 39, just had a baby, Sophie, and the plan was that I would be able to be there as she grew up. Second year. Sophie showed a clear preference for my attention, which really upset Liz. I would try to redirect Sophie to her to minimize hurt feelings. My second Christmas with them, Liz got me a present. I took this as a good sign until I opened it. Peanut candy and lavender lotion, both of which I am severely allergic to. I spoke to Joe about it later that night and he said he'd remind her of my allergy. Every gift I've received since has had peanuts and lavender. Third year. Right before Christmas I was notified that Liz was pregnant again. I was happy for them. Holidays were pushed back until March with almost no communication. We met at a place near Joe's office. We ate, then opened the presents in the parking lot. I got all of them presents plus something for the baby, and I received Snickers, lavender candle, and a damaged iPad that barely turned on, wrapped in 2 plastic bags. I said something along the lines of "thank you." I liked the wrapping in an attempt to lighten the tension. This prompted an argument. Liz told me that I was ruining their family and stealing the attention from Sophie. Joe was yelling at my mom was yelling at Joe. I was trying to get Sophie out of the action. Since this event, I haven't had contact with them other than an update that the baby was born and a single "Happy Holidays" text. A couple weeks ago I had a procedure done and had to move back in with my mom. Joe heard about it and sent flowers. I texted him to say thank you and went on with my life. A few days ago I got a reply saying that Sophie misses me, the baby has been curious, and they are having a 3rd child soon. He said that he really wants me to be a part of the family. I said that I'm still hurt by everything but would be willing to work things out to at least hang out with my siblings every once in a while. This was met with backlash as the stress of the situation I caused put Liz on bed rest last time she was pregnant. I doubled down that I am still super hurt by things they have said and done but apologize for any harm the situation caused. Joe said that I clearly still need to grow up if I'm unable to brush off a little fight, then called me selfish and ungrateful. I said that if this is how they are going to act then I want nothing to do with them, apologized for however this may affect my siblings, and asked for no further contact. The day after I got voicemails from Liz saying that I ruined her and her children's lives along with a ton of insults and crying. Since then I've gotten messages from relatives I've never met telling me that I'm ruining my siblings' lives by denying them a sister. Am I the idiot for not wanting to be part of their family? Not the idiot. The whole thing is ridiculous. Your stepmom tried to poison you by gifting you continuously with things she knows full well you are allergic to. This wasn't accidental. This was very much on purpose. Your dad needs to understand that his current wife is the one at fault, and that until he understands that, and until his wife apologizes, there is no point in you having any kind of contact with any of them, including him, as he clearly doesn't give a crap about you. He merely wants to create an illusion of being the perfect family man. Tell him you won't have anything to do with him or his family, as it is very clearly his wife's wish that you not exist, then block him and his family from everything. Not the idiot. People find it harder to admit they're wrong. The fact a grown adult has been resentful of a child and made a point of being so rude continuously. You've done nothing wrong, and having boundaries is healthy. Not the idiot. They had it coming and only have themselves to blame. Your father especially. If he wanted a relationship with you, and learned that his wife gifted you things you're severely allergic to the first year, he should have taken over gifts after that. Instead he sat there and watched you open gifts year after year, that you're allergic to and would affect your health and life. And has the audacity to say you have growing up to do when you distance themselves from them and the lives they've created. You have nothing to be grateful for where they're concerned, and have to be selfish, since they don't care about your health and life. Block them and tell any other family member that calls you what they've done and exactly what you think of them. Then block them too. You're 23. You don't need a relationship with anyone that has such little concern for you or your life. Am I the idiot for not sharing my inheritance? So, bit of background, I was a big oops. My bio mom was a wealthy woman who apparently never wanted marriage or kids. She met my dad at a work event, same job type, different locations, not sharing specifics for anonymity. They started seeing each other casually for a few months, and then boom, her pill, the condom, and the plan B all failed to stop me from existing. My mother was going to abort me, but my father begged her not to because he was actually married and was told his wife only had like a 1% chance of ever carrying a baby to term. She agreed only on the stipulation that she can give me up, no visitation, no parenting, nothing but child support, and he and his wife reached an agreement and took me under the roof she'd raise me as her biological daughter. Needless to say, I never met my bio mom. But it doesn't get any better for me from there. My stepmom actually ended up having a miracle about a year after I was born. A son. My brother has never treated me any different, and I love him dearly, but I could always tell I was never my parents' priority. I more or less just kind of existed to be seen, never heard or really acknowledged unless it was something for the family. When I turned 13, I got the opportunity to meet my bio grandma, mom's mom. She had no idea I existed and petitioned for visitation. I loved it so much with her that I asked if I could live with her. My dad and stepmom seemed happy to be rid of me and accepted. My bio mom never visited her mom anyway. A rift over her not settling down and having kids. Well, that was 6 years ago. My bio mom just died a month ago and surprisingly left everything she owned to me with the stipulation that I go to school for business and better myself, according to her letter that the lawyer and trustee told me about. This is life-changing money I'm talking. I went from lowest middle class, grandma left everything to me, but it wasn't a lot, just the house and a couple thousand, to a multimillionaire. Now my dad and stepmom are on my case to share the money. I have no idea how they found out, as grandma passed last year, right after I graduated. It was her dream to see me graduate and she had been sick for a few years, and the only person I talked to is my brother, but I never even told him. Apparently they don't have the money to send him to an Ivy League school like they've always wanted, but money is no longer an object for me. I know they raised me for 13 years, but this money could really change my life. Am I the idiot if I don't share it? I mean, OP can help with her brother's education if she wants, but a sibling has no obligation or expectation to pay for a sibling's education. There are ways to show love for your brother without footing the bill for an Ivy League education. Also, your dad and stepmother went from worrying about paying for 2 kids' education to one, assuming they planned on paying for you, which sounds like they probably never would have. So why exactly didn't they plan and save if they planned on sending their son to an Ivy League education? Was plan A always, let's hope our neglected daughter's estranged mother dies and leaves her everything and then we'll guilt her for money? Just seems fishy that they need this totally unexpected money to pay for an expense they knew they would have all along. Which is the long way of saying, they're just using you now that you have value to them. You owe them nothing. And a lot of comments have focused on how to help your brother, But you would not be an idiot at all if you didn't pay for your brother's education. Update: I made an appointment with the attorney and trustee handling my situation to see if I even could. But I won't just give them money. I've been reading the comments, I really have, and a lot tell me about some sort of fund I could set up that would go to his school only. And funny enough, I talked to my brother about this whole mess. He doesn't even want to go to an Ivy League school. He wants to go to art school, but dad and stepmom refuse to pay for it, saying it's a waste of time and of his talents. So now I don't know why they want money if it's not for his schooling. I think we both knew it was never for his school, especially given the lengths they clearly went to even learn of the money in the first place. I'm glad you got your brother's input on the whole situation. Maybe you helping him go to art school will give him the freedom at last to go no contact with the parents since they can't dangle tuition over him. Good luck OP, and I hope you and your brother continue to stick with one another. Am I the idiot for bringing up my brother's 4 kids to his fiancée and potentially ruining an engagement? Okay, so I, 22 female, have an older brother, 28, that we'll call Jamie. We've been roommates since I was about 17. In that time, I've seen a lot of girls come and go, even when he was in a relationship with different girls. I'm not a huge fan of his actions or how he treats women in general, but it's his life and he's free to mess it up as much as he wants, so I turn a blind eye to it. He has 4 kids. His oldest daughter is 10 and is the only one that he actually pays any child support on, but he rarely sees her. The other 2 are twin boys, 4, that he has with one of my close friends. She didn't take him to court, so I do my best to provide for them if she needs help. His son I don't really know much about. I think he's around 8. He doesn't want kids and doesn't see them but maybe a handful of times around the year, and doesn't see his 8-year-old son at all. He calls the ones he has accidents and has said before that he wishes he hadn't had them because he gets irritated when their mothers call him. So essentially what happened was 3 years ago, Jamie met a girl named Natalie and they immediately hit it off. She's moved into our apartment and I like her well enough. With his habits, I didn't expect her to last very long, but she surprised us both. Since I planned on moving out in a few months, she'd been talking about renovating my room and all sorts of stuff they could do with the space. She even laughingly said that maybe it could be a nursery. I thought it was a joke and brushed it off. Well, a couple weeks ago, while I was out at dinner with my friends, he had decorated the apartment and proposed to her. I congratulated them and didn't have any problems with this until a few nights ago when we were all drinking and talking. Natalie was gushing about her plans for the wedding and her bridesmaids and her new ring. Here's what went wrong. She mentioned how she wanted kids as soon as she could and how she could see my brother being the best dad. I started laughing. Basically what I said was, he hasn't been the best dad to the 4 he is now. She asked what I meant and my brother started to freak out. I realized she didn't know and explained how he wasn't raising his kids and how he didn't even want to see them and didn't want kids at all. Apparently he hadn't told her about any of this. My brother was drunk and started yelling, so I called a friend and left. I stayed away a day or 2 and he blew up my phone. I guess he and Natalie are fighting horribly and he blamed me for it. I ruined his engagement and I'm an idiot for telling her, as it should have been his choice to tell her about the kids. Our parents agree with him and haven't been talking to me. Honestly, I feel like I warned her before things got too serious, even if it wasn't deliberate. He should have told her before about them. So am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. It's been 3 years. If he hasn't told her by now, then he did not plan on telling her. He's withholding a huge piece of information from her by not telling her he has 4 kids. He ruined it by not telling his fiancée. OP saved her. OP. Not the idiot. You absolutely did the right thing. 1. Regardless of how he is as a dad, he messed up by not telling her. He lied to her about the nature of their relationship for 3 years, even though they had a commitment. If they're serious, she must know. He didn't let her, so you did. 2. He's a dad, and a crappy one. If Natalie plans on having children with him, she should know that, because he's going to be no different to their children. 3. Jamie has been horrible to his children. He's irresponsible. 4 accidents? Really? Refuses to take accountability both legally and emotionally, and has neglected the kids for most of their life. That's not exactly someone Natalie wants to have children with, right? He probably knew she'd back out if he told her. This is a situation where you didn't ruin it, he did by not doing XYZ himself means literally. If he was just a dad and not a horrible one, she could have stayed with him even after she knew. There are plenty of people who chose to stay with their partner knowing said partner has children elsewhere. It's not the knowledge itself, it's the fact that he lied. Not the idiot. I find it funny how he claims it's his choice to tell her if he has children, but he sees nothing wrong with taking away Natalie's choice of deciding whether or not she wants to be in a relationship or marry a man who has chosen not to take care of his 4 children. Why does he get to have a choice, but she doesn't get the choice to make an informed decision?